Welcome everybody to the MiniMapCast. This is your weekly source of gaming news, questions, and impressions from minimap.com.au. My name is Kerry Palmer, and joining me is Jeremy
There's no news, Kerry. You didn't read the script.
I'm sorry. Okay, all right. Say something in response to my introduction, and then I'll explain what happened there.
Hi, Kerry.
Hey, Jeremy, what's up, man?
We don't do the news.
All right, so what happened? What happened just then was I realized three things after you hit go on the music. One, I didn't have the new script pulled up. And so I was scrambling to pull that up.
Oh no, something's wrong with
you. Are you still there, Jeremy? You're frozen on my screen. Sam, are we offline? What happened? What happened?
You crashed out.
Where'd I go?
I don't know.
Oh, Sam says the plug fell out of the modem. Wait, I didn't get that far into my introduction because you were just sitting there, stone-faced.
You had completely frozen on you doing this. You were like...
Wait, so what was the last thing you heard me say?
I don't know.
Okay, so during that intro, after you pressed the button,
yeah,
I realized three things. Maybe three. I actually haven't counted them all yet. One, I didn't have the new script pulled up yet, so I had to scramble to get that pulled up. Two, you're not streaming the feed of the stream to me on Discord.
Oh, right. Yeah, sorry.
So I couldn't see what the live feed was for coming in with the introduction.
Sorry, let me fix that real quick. There we go.
No, it's okay, because we were like doing this and doing that, and I don't know what the third was, but that was enough that I didn't do the brand new intro. Should we just pretend like we're just coming in from the music again, and I'll say, this is the MiniMapCast, minimap.com.au's weekly games podcast, your favorite weekly games podcast.
Okay.
Jeremy, how are you?
I'm good. We can. I'm glad you can do that just to give me just a little bit more things to edit.
What do you mean things to edit? That's fine. We can roll with that.
Okay. All right.
Unless you were just silent for 30 seconds.
I was laughing the entire time.
All right, that's fine. That's fine. Your laughter can carry this podcast, Jeremy. You can bring us not home because we only just started.
Yeah.
But you can get us out the door. Hey, if you're still here after listening through that trash fire, thank you so much. If you want to listen to more of us, you can catch us every week on any podcast platform of your choice, or you can watch us on YouTube or on Twitch as we record the show live, which we are doing right now. If you like what you're hearing, please give the show a positive rating wherever you are listening to us. And if you want to join us as we record the show, we are live every Monday, 5:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time or Daylight Time. I don't remember which one we're at. And that is at twitch.tv/minimapau or from our YouTube channel as well, which is minimapau. Good luck finding that in the searches. You can find it on our website. Before, during, and after the show, we do hang out with the Twitch chat, which is always fun. We'd love it if you joined us there for it. It's a great reason to join live. Be sure to keep up to date with us when we post a new episode or anything else for minimap.com.au. You can do that by following our Instagram, our Twitter, TikTok, and Twitch accounts. All of those accounts are under MiniMapAU, at MiniMapAU for all of those. For example, it's a good place to find out what the topic of the show is each week. Last week we spoke about... Oh, Jeremy, what did we speak about last week? I almost had it. What was it? Where's the calendar? Oh, Notion's a bit slow. What was it? It was most livable open worlds. That's what it was last week, which was great. That was a fun time. Next week, we're going to be talking about... Oh, where's the calendar?
We're ranking DS games.
Thank you, Jeremy. Ranking Nintendo DS games.
Just to jump in really quick, I was looking at tags on Twitch to see what to label the stream, and there's a DS tag, and there's also a
just Nintendo DS.
Yeah, as in and it's the title is to tag your stream if you're playing DS games. There's a separate tag for DSi games.
Are the DSi exclusives?
No, I don't think so.
Just if you want to be really console accurate.
Yeah. It's weird.
So those are the topics coming up in the next week. That's what happened last week. This week, for MiniMapCast episode number 117, we are honoring Spartan 117, John Halo himself, by ranking the main series Halo games. So that's going to be in the second half of the show. Look forward to that. We wanted to say thank you to Shook for letting us use the Moog Model D Improv as the music for the MiniMapCast. You can listen to more of Shook's music at shook.bandcamp.com. And finally, we just wanted to let you know that you can help keep the lights and mics on by throwing $5 our way and becoming one of our patrons on Patreon. It helps us continue to do this. You can ask us questions to answer on the podcast, and pardon me. Hang on, sorry. I gotta get the landing right on this one.
Yeah, no, you got it.
It helps us continue to do this. You can ask us questions to answer on the podcast, and it's as cheap as a latte with oat milk. You can do that by going to patreon.com/minimapau. That felt a little better, Jeremy, the second time around. I think that felt a little better.
We just gotta mold into it a little bit. It's like a new pair of shoes.
Yeah. Or like a new pair of jeans.
Yeah.
Remold like a jean.
That's the saying.
That's the saying. Jeremy, you want to take us away with what you've been playing this week?
I'm playing a lot of Marvel Snap.
Marvel Snap.
You
got any good photos of Black Panther like catching the Hulk's fist?
No.
But it's like you had to. The only way you got to do that was by throwing like a really annoying like perfume ball at Black Panther when he was underneath the waterfall, so you can get the right photo.
What are you talking about?
It's a Pokemon Snap joke. It's a Pokemon Snap joke. Don't worry.
Pokemon Snap. Okay, right. Okay, okay. That was actually on me for not picking that one up. So I've been playing a lot of it, like every day. Yeah, like I'm doing all my dailies, getting the weekly, getting the season pass up, all that shit. Like I'm proper. Like oh no, I've given this game money, huh?
Much?
Oh, I paid for the season pass, which was too much. It was $15.
$10?
Yeah, it was.
That's an expensive pass.
Well, it's season pass money. That's what they all are.
I prefer like 10 or 12.
Yeah, but like it's 10 or 12, but it's like you can only buy it in $15 increments. You know what I mean?
With the currency amount, sure. That's something that Fall Guys is quite good at. I think you can just buy what you need to.
Oh, that's good.
Maybe when it comes to the pass, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I've turned a corner. Accidentally.
What does that mean?
I'm building decks for the first time in my life in a card game. I'm thinking about.
How do you feel, Jeremy?
I'm thinking about engines. I'm thinking about the mechanism of the deck and what I need to do to get the deck at the end of the 6th turn doing what I need it to be doing.
Uh-huh. Wow.
This isn't me.
This isn't me? Who is this?
I don't like card games.
That was my first thought last week. I didn't say it, but that was my first thought last week when you brought it up.
It's a really good one. It's really simple. But there's a lot of depth. So I've been on Reddits, I've been on websites, forums, looking at different card, like looking at different deck metas and looking at like the different
you're in deep.
Something's happened, and then I'm looking at like. So the way the progression works in this game is actually bad. There's some issues with this game. I don't think it's fully out yet. I'm having trouble.
That's what I've heard. Yeah,
it's not on iOS currently, and it's only available in certain countries, Australia being one of them, on Android. They were trialing a new event system, which was like, you can buy a pack and get a card out of it, or you can buy like you can spend a lot of the premium currency and get like the best card out of the pack. 2 days ago, as of recording this, which was like the 29th or the 30th of July, 2 days ago, they've axed that completely. They've said the event that we're currently
Not
doing,
ready for prime time.
no, as in like they said like the events that we're currently doing have like this event will finish and then we are going to axe this style of events going forward.
Whoa.
Yeah, and like this, look, it's what a beta's for, and I'm glad that they're doing that. But like, ooh,
It's hard, right? Because the stuff that they're betaing is monetized. It's stuff that they're testing by people spending money on it.
Yes, which is not great. It gets to a point in the game where you actually stop making progress by completing games if you've done all your dailies. Or if you've done all your quests and you've done everything you can do in a season for your season pass, and you then keep playing, you're actually not making any progress at all. There is no spendable currency you can gain by playing the game, which is a shame.
Right. And you're not just gaining passive experience points towards.
You are, but it's it's very, very specific. When you finish a game, you get, I think, about 6 points towards one of your cards, and each card has got its own currency, and then you spend the regular currency on that card to then make it look nice and pretty. It's the cosmetic currency, which is fine, and that's not even the premium currency. It's the one you get from doing everything. So you get the card specific currency, but you don't get the one that you have to spend to then actually level up your cards. So you can get all your cards ready to be spent for when you get new dailies, but it's a bit weird. There's like 2 or 3 like actual progression things. So there's the regular season pass stuff, which is just like all the other season pass things. There is a like collection value, which is like how much cards you've collected times by the rarity of all your cards.
Right, okay, right. How many of the rares have you gotten? How many of the legendaries have you gotten?
Yeah, but it's one overall value as opposed to like tick boxes. It's fine. It makes sense. And it all seems to be valued appropriately.
Okay.
And the third one is like the actual like the ranking thingo. So it's like you get every 10 levels, every 10 competitive levels, you get an additional bonus.
Okay.
I'm stuck in the mid 40s currently, and I'm going down 8 levels and I'm going up 8 levels again, and I'm losing a bunch of games in a row. Then it's
so is that like in the place of like a bronze, silver, gold division kind of?
It is that on
system?
top of that, it is like the first. The first 5 levels are agent, then level 10 is iron, level 20 is bronze, 30 is silver, 40 is gold. Then it goes platinum, diamond, vibranium, omega, galactic, and infinite.
Jesus, that is so many levels.
Yeah,
How is infinite on the same like scale as iron?
Yeah, I know. Or agent.
Yeah. Person, material.
Yeah.
Concept.
There's like the progression in this game isn't great, and they do need to fix that. They need a reason for me to keep playing once I've done everything, because then I'll want to like really keep playing aside from like fucking around with decks and just trying to get my rank higher.
Like, you saying that like once you've done the challenges for the day, you don't make much progress, if any. Reminds me of Halo Infinite at launch.
Yes.
Right? That was their biggest issue.
I was thinking that exact same thought last night and the night before that. Like, because I was trying to remember, like, what game also did this semi recently? I'm like, it was Halo Infinite. And it was like, hard progression stop.
You didn't even earn the, like, 50 experience per match that you get now. And then when they brought that in, that still wasn't enough, and they had to bring in the daily boost. So it starts at 300, and then 200, and then 100.
Yeah, they need something in this game. I think they just need like an alternate game mode maybe. Or like they need just a little bit more, just a tiny bit more. And I think they will add it. So I found out the lead developer of this game is the lead on Hearthstone.
So I actually pulled that up earlier. Yeah, I've got that. It's Ben Brody.
Yeah.
The game is being led by former Hearthstone designer and director Ben Brody
And
via his new studio, Second Dinner.
Yeah, it shows like there's like a really high level of intelligence in the design of this game. People who are used to like the few Hearthstone like people that I knew who were like Hearthstone content creators, like they are pretty high on this game. Aside from also once again the monetization and the progression, but like even they're like, yeah, no, this is like a really good TCG. But yeah, I'm building decks. I'm in.
What is that like? Tell me what that's like for you building a deck.
So
what are the emotions? What are the feelings?
So there's a couple of trains, I guess you can sort of go down. There's like you can do so when you play cards, there's different types of abilities. There's like on reveal, so the moment the card gets revealed, something will happen. There's ongoing, which is the entire time this card is active, it will do a thing. And there's also things like you can move cards around in between different lanes, and there's also cards that duplicate themselves and then like cards that like if I get duplicated, I also get plus bonuses and stuff.
Big card game vibes.
Yeah, right. And so what these type of decks then become is like, oh, like I can make a deck that is all about movement, which is as far as I'm aware, it's the current like meta. Like the movement decks are the things that I have no idea how to counter. I have absolutely no clue how to beat a really well-oiled movement deck, and I also don't have enough movement cards to make my own. And like, but I'm almost there, but I'm just not quite there. And so anytime there's a movement deck, I need to like really pull out some fancy pants luck to try and like get out of that alive.
Have you successfully defended from the well-oiled?
Yeah, like look, there's a pretty decent amount of randomness that can happen in this game. Like there are some so like each game is 6 turns, but there are some like there's the 3 locations, the 3 lanes, and they have like a location card attached to them. Those 3 location cards reveal themselves on the first and the second and the third turns. So you don't know what each location is going to do until the third turn. What can happen is some of those are like really bonkers, like locations. So one of them is Ego, the living planet, and he just plays both teams for you. So you just watch. He plays your cards for you.
So it's sort of like you roll the AI, and the AI tries to play both. That's very fascinating.
It's very funny. And at that point, that game is a wash on both sides. It's like, fuck it, let's see what happens. Or you can retreat early and just say, I'm not interested in doing this. I don't want to engage with that.
That strikes me as a bit of a like stage hazards on a Smash level kind of.
It is. It very, very much is. There's a lot of like worlds that are like, this is so anti-competitive play.
Yeah.
Some of them are like the TVA is in it, the Time Variance Authority from Loki.
Okay.
That ends the game after the 4th turn.
Oh, what? That's
like,
strange.
One of their time grenades goes off and wipes.
Oh, just what?
And there's also another one which is it's like a hell planet, which makes it a 7-turn game.
Okay.
And there's a bunch of other random ones as well. So there's enough that you can luck a win pretty rarely. But like if they know what they're doing, then there's a good chance they can account for it.
Yeah. Well, cool.
Yeah, it's like I'm currently trying to do like duplicate decks a lot because they're pretty fun to just sort of like overwhelm and then like sort of swarm. And I'm also a big fan of ongoing decks. So one of the
a card that gets destroyed then returns to your hand.
No, so the ongoing is when a card gets played, its ability is persistent.
Oh right.
And then you can have cards that then buff other ongoing cards, and it turns into like a
cascade.
Yeah, like a snowball effect of just like more and more intense effects.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really fun. And there's also decent quality options as well, because the game was draining my battery like nobody's business, and I brought it down to low quality, and things still look really quite good. And I also capped it at 30 frames per second, which also saved a ton of battery as well.
Yep.
And also, like, I've got some really nice looking cards now, and bloody hell, mate, these are some let's bring it in. Let's bring it in. And it's like,
look at that parallax effect.
It's so cool.
That is really cool.
And
that's cool when they make the cards so much of the screen real estate on the phone.
Yeah, so every one of the cards you can also click on. So like your deck is actually like useful to make it look cool, because you want to like impress your opponents. And then when you see a card that's really upgraded all the way up, you're like, oh, look at that one.
Yep.
And like all the art is really great. Like all of the effects are really cool too. Like all of the different each card at least has, I think at least each card has one unique effect, which is like Mr. Fantastic's arms like reach out and punch, or like, you know, the Hulk smashes the ground, or they've all got cool things going on. There's a really good amount of presentation in this game.
Great, awesome.
So, yeah, it's fucking fun.
You're talking about all that exciting, like all the different types, you know, the on reveal or ongoing stuff immediately started making me think, oh, this is reminding me of something. And I was like, Monster Train. I was like, yes, I would very much like to be playing that game right now, because you're speaking about similar concepts.
The one final thing I think this game needs is just like there's no social aspect to it, so there's no like friends list, and there's no challenge your buddies or anything. Which I think they like. Look, it's still in beta, who knows? But I think they should definitely start looking at that.
Yeah, I mean, even if it's like, oh, you don't get rank points for this.
Yeah.
You need to be able to do that.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, cool. Look forward to hearing more about Marvel Snap next week, probably.
Maybe.
Speaking of things we spoke about last week, who's ready to talk about Jak II? Again. Me, I am. It was a trick question, I think.
And the joke is on us.
The reason I'm bringing it up is because I finished it. I probably wouldn't have much to say without that. And I was sort of left with this weird feeling afterwards. Because it's definitely the best one. Obviously, it's very different from one, but it's definitely the best. You know, there's the most number of guns. They're all really cool and fun. The vehicles feel way better. The environments are way more varied. It's also, I think, the shortest game. Like, I can't speak necessarily to the length of Jak and Daxter, the first game, too well. I didn't finish that one, but it felt like that one was going to go a bit longer than like 8 hours. But this one didn't. My save for Jak II, and I didn't play that much extra stuff in Jak II. My save for that one was at like 12 or 13 hours. And this one for Jak III was like 8.5. And I remember a lot of the moments as I was getting up to the end of the game. I was like, oh yeah, this was a really hype moment when I was like 12. But when I'm 27, it's like, all I can see here is missed potential, or like unearned gravitas, right? Like an unearned moment.
Yeah.
And it's like, I was thinking about it. The you know how when the game loads, you don't see this so much these days, but at the start of the game, for both all Jak games, it's got the copyright date under it says like Sony Interactive Entertainment. It's got like copyright 2003, blah 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 blah, trademark of blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And I just want to compare the release dates between Jak II and Jak III. So looks like Jak III was released on the 9th of November 2004.
Okay.
which means that Jak 2 was released 13 months prior.
Wow.
14th of October 2003. So Jak 3 had 13 months. It had 1 year, 1 month to be developed and turned into a full game before they moved on, did Jak X while they were getting ready for Uncharted. And I just, it kind of feels like an extended patch in some ways, you know? The things they improved were the real teething issues that happened in 2. And like the things that happened in 2 probably wouldn't have been a problem if maybe they just made Jak 2 for an extra year or 6 months or something. But then Jak 3 wouldn't have been as good as it was, but then the story was really limited and short, but I'm
Yeah.
on the one hand, I'm absolutely astounded by how much they did in a year, and on the other hand, I'm like, this, for how good this is, I think it would have been next level, like a really genre-defining, platform-defining game if they'd given Jak 3 an extra year to really give it more levels and flesh it out a bit. And, you know, a few levels are just palette swaps of different things you could do in Jak 2. And I was left wanting more in a bad way.
Yeah, so this is a story I've heard before.
Really?
In terms of, this is just the exact same thing as Ratchet and Clank. Those games were coming out quick, and those games were coming out
hot.
Yes. And look, back then, look, both of these studios were doing a very good job at putting together games that were definitely complete. They weren't buggy. They weren't messy. They weren't perfect, but like they were still quite good. And
oh my god, Jeremy, it's the same thing. Even the same years.
It's the
11th of November for 2003 for Ratchet and Clank 2, and then the 2nd of November 2004. They got less than a year for Ratchet and Clank 2 to 3.
Yep. And it shows because, you know, okay. I'm gonna just throw some questions at you, Kerry, right? What's a Ratchet and Clank staple?
Staple? Oh, bloody hell. The charge boots.
Okay, what's another one?
Arena combat.
Okay, yep. What's another one?
Grind rails.
Yep, cool. I'm glad you said that, Kerry. There were no grind rails in Ratchet and Clank 3.
What?
They got cut.
Oh my god, you're right. Wow.
I knew you were going to say it.
Wow.
Yeah, right?
And it's funny because I go back and immediately I'm like, what about this level? No, that's the end of 2. What about this level? No, that's Tools of Destruction.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, they had to cut it. And one of the reasons they had to cut it was because they got told, and like not even Jak was doing this. They put an online multiplayer mode in Ratchet and Clank 3. Don't forget.
Yeah, they did, and it was okay.
It was fine. I don't know anyone that played it because you had to have the network adapter and everything. I
played it local.
I played it online once. One time.
I never played a PlayStation 2 game online ever. I never had an adapter.
I don't know how I did it. I think my PS2, the Slim, had a network port in it.
Yeah, I think the Slim, one of the re-releases did have it built in. I had the original box.
Yeah, it was like Sony were much harsher back then on like, you got to get this out. There's a wonderful series on YouTube which is playthroughs of at least 2 and 3. I think 1, but I don't remember. Of the entire games, with a director's commentary of OG designers on Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah, like they're the people playing it and talking about what happened in this level and like a problem that happened here and something there and there. Genghis Khan. And yeah, I've been meaning to go back and watch those. Someone pointed them out to me years ago.
Yeah, they're really good. They're really excellent. I love that with Jak and Daxter. I love that with a lot of games.
Jak and Daxter has 3 has commentary, I think.
Like in the
I
game.
think I saw that in the extras.
Right. Okay, that's cool.
I haven't clicked on it yet.
But
I
like,
should do that.
I kind of want it like as a video. I don't want to play the game with commentary. I want it as like an external thing I can sort of put on.
Yeah, that's true. That's a fair point. Because if you're playing, then you're playing, but with the commentary, then it's kind of distracting, and yeah.
And I don't want to.
And you've also just played the whole game.
And I don't want to go through long sections where there's no commentary because it's like repetitive gameplay only to get to a new. Like,
yeah, you go from like mission to mission, and you got to go through the open world to get to the next bit. Yeah.
So are you now done with Jak and Daxter?
Yeah, I think I am. I uninstalled 2 because it just doesn't play that well. Like, the trophy list for those games is pretty fun because it's just do all the main missions, collect half of the orbs, collect all of the orbs.
Sure.
And that accounts for everything, basically, because there's all of the missions, and then anything you do that's side content rewards you with precursor orbs. And then exploring, there's a few hidden ones around.
Mm-hmm.
And so Jak II, I didn't get the get half the orbs thing. Some of the side quests, some of the like races and checkpoint races and stuff like that were absolute bullshit in that game. I'm not going back to it.
Yeah, right.
But in 3, I just naturally got the halfway mark in that. Because I did them as I was going, and sort of understanding game design a bit more and just knowing more about that. I could very easily do all the side quests, and so they were very nice, neat little tick boxes for me to do. Whereas before, they were impossible for me when I was 15 years younger.
Yeah, right.
Whereas it's like, find this orb, and then the first thing I do is look at the timer. I'm like, okay, 10 seconds, it's real close. I'll go this way. That didn't work. I'll try that way. There it is. Like, I just have all of these frameworks to solve things with. And so I'm not getting frustrated by the game. It feels way better. It looks way better. I've said this before the last few weeks.
Are you at all interested in a race of Jak X?
No. I wasn't interested when I was 10, and I'm not interested now. It just doesn't appeal.
I played a little bit. It's fine.
Yeah. Okay.
I played a little bit like last year.
From the creators of Crash Team Racing.
Yeah. It's a racing game.
Yeah. Overall, I'm really glad I played these. Like, I'm glad I got to go back and revise my opinion on Jak and Daxter 1. I'm glad I got to re-experience 2, play it all the way to the end for the first time, for me personally. Play 3 again. 3 was one that I played, took to my cousin's house when I got it. We played through the whole thing in a weekend together. Like, I really... Actually, they're a large portion of my PlayStation 2 history.
Yeah,
and it's fun to remember that and go back and experience that again. But yeah, it's interesting to see it nowadays. It's aged, but it's so imperfect and so confused. I wish we could have had Jak 3 come out a year later in 2005. I think that would have been amazing.
Yeah, right.
Like I think it really would have been an excellent game. And as it stands, it's only a great game with a lot of baggage.
You're gonna play
I got a couple of other
any of the other. Sorry, really quick. You're gonna play any of the other games that Jak is in. You're gonna play PlayStation Move Heroes.
I don't know what that is.
You're gonna play.
I've never heard of that.
You never heard of that?
Move Heroes? No.
Yeah, it's the PlayStation Move game on the PS3.
Nope.
You can play Daxter.
Nope.
You're gonna play the Lost Frontier, whatever.
The Lost Frontier. Look, if it becomes available to me, then maybe.
you're gonna play PlayStation All Stars Battle Royale.
Absolutely not.
That game's good.
Battle Royale before they knew what a Battle Royale was.
It's true.
Or I guess before Battle Royale, the name was like appropriated or redefined, more properly defined. It's hard to say.
Oh, look, I think the movie was out by then, but I don't like it in games, you know.
Yeah. So I got a couple of random things here before a final story. Sam and I still playing Persona 5 Royal. Really, really close to the ending now. It was good. Sam's been sick all this last week, with a cold, according to 5 rat tests.
Pretty safe then.
Yeah, pretty safe. That's what we're thinking. Although we were also looking at it today, and it's like it turns out your body can be like strong, have like a strong enough response, like immune response to the virus that it won't show up on a rat, even if you have it, because your body's just fighting it off effectively enough, which is strange. So it could be that, but there's no way of knowing. Anyway, so Sam's been sick, and coughing and cold stuff. So we've been hanging out a bit and playing a fair bit. But yesterday was a really nice sleepy day. We were meant to go to a gathering, a party for my mum, but Sam was sick. I've probably got whatever Sam's got. So we didn't end up going. I cleaned the house a bit and then sat down in a quiet, cloudy, dreary afternoon with the lights on, the projector on, playing. Well, we didn't have the lights on because we had the projector on, playing stuff on the screen. It was a good Sunday weekend vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Played through a lot of Persona, and it's been very interesting. Them developing the story based on the villains and the characters that you get to experience and re-experience during the Royal DLC content. Oh, it's not DLC; it's a new game, but the new Royal content. I was noting to Sam that when we got to the Royal content, my enthusiasm kind of eased a bit. Like I became a bit less like, I got to play this every night, because we lost that momentum building up to the final confrontation, right? We did that. We hit that peak, and then we've got this little last bump at the end in terms of enthusiasm levels. But now we've kind of turned the corner on the Royal content. We're coming up to the boss fight. It's been very good. Very interesting, and it's not been twists and turns in the same way that the main game was, but we have been sitting there talking like, oh, this makes me feel like this, or I was feeling kind of sympathetic towards the villain at this moment, and then the more they flesh it out in a really nuanced way, I was like, wow, that's kind of really messed up in like an ethical way, and you presented this choice at some point, and the choice made me think, it was like, oh, you could do this because it might save someone, but in doing that, it goes against their wishes. And that kind of makes you no better than the villain who's doing something under the guise of being helpful, but really it's just like there's an amount of pathos there and thought out depth to the plot that's actually really engaging and rewarding to engage with as well.
Cool.
It's been really good, but we're not done with it yet. I'll have more to say after that, but just sort of checking in on that. Great game to just take away the hours, to just put time into during the day. I did come up to an optional boss that I'd probably encountered when I was about level 30 or so. And got absolutely steamrolled. It's the only optional boss in the game, I think.
Right, okay.
And it's like the Reaper. So it's, I don't know, it was interesting. Like when I did it did like 500 damage to me, and all of my characters only had like 200 health, right? And so it's a character that turns up in the randomly generated area, Mementos. The longer you stay in an area, and I couldn't remember what the queue was to make the Reaper appear until I stayed in the area for long enough. And the reason I was staying in an area long enough is because I was grinding it to get to level 99 because I was that close. And so I did that, got to max level on all of my characters really easily. And then the Reaper appeared. I'm like, oh, cool. This is going to be a challenging fight. I'm ready for it now. Turns out that fight is balanced for like where you are at the end game of the main game, which is like level 75.
Right.
Not level 99. So all of my characters had like 500, 600, 700 health, and he was doing like 30 per hit. It was still a long fight, but it wasn't challenging. I absolutely steamrolled it.
Yeah.
And I was really going into it being like, oh, this is going to suck. And I was like, well, let's just get through this then, I guess. And I got a trophy, and it was great.
Nice.
I've also dabbled in The Last of Us. I'm not going to talk about it too much, but it's been interesting playing it, knowing the remaster is coming out, and thinking about, does it deserve it? Does it need it? How good does it look already? Turns out that game does look pretty decent, but does look aged. I kind of feel more justified in them having gone on this remake path, having played it, but also I can even more clear. It's almost like both points of view are even clearer in my head. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, yes, this version is totally fine. Yes, it could do with an update. Like both sides are more crystal clear to me. That's all I wanted to say about that. But I have something to finish this off in terms of our what we've been playing section. A month or two ago, I played some Naraka Blade Point for a video on IGN, which is, if you're not familiar, it's a
melee battle royale.
China? It's a battle royale, but it's like a medieval, like mystic abilities and swords and bows and pistols.
Yeah.
Battle royale. It's not PUBG. It's not Apex. Which is, it's pretty cool. You know, there's characters, there's legends, I guess, in the Apex parlance. And they have different skill sets. There's a lot of like, you get to level 13 and you unlock a glyph set for your character, and the glyphs mean that your grapple distance is longer. It definitely seems like you get a huge bonus for having played more compared to a character that is brand new who has less things unlocked, but also like their grapple doesn't go as far. They get less currency per second. They get less of this, less of that, less of this.
And they're worse at the game.
So, yeah, kinda. I'm 99% sure this is because I played with bots, right? So what happened was that when I played my first rounds a month or two ago, that was definitely bots, and I steamrolled the server, and that was fun. And I looked up a video of like how to traverse around a bit faster, just some like beginner to advanced tips, so I wasn't just like flailing around forever, and like how to understand. It's got like a rock paper scissors system, where it's like weak attacks are like white, charge attacks are blue, and then a block is red. And so it's like white quick attacks go through a block, but if you block a blue attack, then it disarms the opponent. And so using all of that in together, like making it time right. So there's a fair amount of complexity to it. I loaded into one game earlier today with players. I got messed up pretty quickly, but I got a couple of kills. And then I loaded into another game. And this is the game that had me running a little late coming into the podcast, because I ended up playing the whole match. In retrospect, they probably weren't players, but let's just say that who knows whether they were real players or not.
Who could
Let's just say that for now. Jeremy, the server starts with 60 players.
Yeah. And they've all got numbers for names. It's very strange.
I didn't read any of their names. I don't know where the kill feed is, actually. No. A bunch of them were like Japanese figures or Chinese figures, like different script. I just couldn't read them. Jeremy, I finished that match with 29 kills, which is half the server. It was obscene. It was absolute. I don't even remember all of the things that I did. Like, I just kept going from fight to fight, killing everyone I came across. And people snuck up on me, and then I killed them too. And then I moved on, and then I killed everyone else in the area again. It was an absolute bloodbath, and it just kept going. And then it ended. I'm like, holy shit. And Sam like walked into the room. I was like, I'm cracked. Sam, I'm so good.
Well, this is like the first 40 games I played Apex Mobile where I was getting like, I was killing half the server.
Yep.
Like, I was there and people were getting the jump on me, and I'm just turning around and just annihilating them.
Yeah, it's exactly like that. Especially because like they put me in a player match to start, and I pretty quickly got dunked on. So I think they gave me an ego boost match, but oh boy, what a boost! Let me tell you,
what a high, isn't it?
And I'm sitting there thinking like maybe this is what I wanted to be in Apex when that game came out, but instead it's this. Maybe I should play a bit more and see if I'm going to be really good at this instead. I know the answer's no. I know as soon as...
You should play Apex Mobile.
Oh, I don't want to play games on my phone. It's just not for me. I'm not a big handheld guy, you know? It's just not...
Bloody connect a fucking controller then.
Yeah, but it's still... I'd rather just play... If I could play the game... Maybe I'll play the game through an Android emulator on the computer. I'd enjoy that.
Just Chromecast it.
I don't want my phone to be doing the processing. I don't want my phone to run the game.
Oh, but the fucking dopamine.
Have you fallen off that? Are you still playing that at work?
Nah, we haven't had the time. And then I was off for a week and a half, and now I'm back, and Ollie's not on, and it's a whole thing.
Right. Fair enough. So yeah, Jeremy, you should come join me in Naraka sometime. We can stomp the bot lobbies whenever we want.
I watched the gameplay, like bits of when it was at E3. It didn't really do much for me.
Yeah, I would say the same. Just looking at it, I felt better about it playing it than I did just looking at it.
Okay. I don't need another battle royale.
Bad. It's on Game Pass.
Yeah.
PC, Xbox, wherever you want to play. Crossplay.
You're paid by NetEase?
I wish. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, that'd be great, wouldn't it?
We're going to throw it to a break right now, so stick around if you're in the chat. We're going to be talking to the chat during the break. When we come back, we're talking about Halo games. Stick with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the MiniMapCast. We've been discussing... What were we discussing in the break? I've forgotten already.
A lot of nonsense.
A lot of nonsense. Pronto to Toronto was brought up, which is quite strange. Don't know why I said that. And now I have a cat. Griffin is here with us. She's not loud enough to come up on the mic, and she's low enough to not really be on the camera. Yep. But she's here, I promise. Guess what, everybody? It's time for episode number 117 of the MiniMapCast. It is time to... What's that? What's that I hear?
Oh, this is not the right... This is the one that takes forever. Hang on.
Why does it sound so low quality?
Because there's a lot of ins, a lot of outs, Kerry. It's not always...
Were you playing it through your phone into the microphone?
No.
Is that the sound of Halo? John, is that you? It is. I can hear him. He's coming.
You can hear John.
I can hear John Halo.
There's a weird amount of ducking that happens on the mixer, which I didn't know exists.
Oh, yeah, ducking is annoying.
I mean, I can turn it off. But...
My phone's speakers have started auto-ducking. Just when I'm playing stuff on Spotify. Not headphones, speakers.
That sucks.
It's awful, Jeremy. It's horrendous.
Yeah, right.
I don't know if it's a Spotify problem or a phone problem. Hey, we're going to rank the Halo games. What we're going to do, we spoke about this with the chat last week. To think about what would be the best way to do this. And what we decided was we're going to each bring in our individual lists. So that's going to be, we're going to go through Jeremy's list, why he's ranked them the way they have. We're going to go through my list, why I rank them the way I have. Then we're going to have a little bit of a break where we talk about each of our favorite Halo moments before trying to come up with a unified minimap rating. I've just covered my face with my hands. A unified Halo rating where we're going to take our two lists, and any places where we disagree, we're going to butt heads until we make it work. We're going to argue our case. We're going to make the arguments. We're going to rock 'em, sock 'em robots to the death. This one. It's not a saying.
It's what they say.
So, Jeremy, without further ado, please run us through your list and your reasoning.
So, there's a lot of Halo games.
Yeah, man. That's where you're starting?
I'm gonna go bottom to top. Bottom to top. The one that I think I have the least interest in playing, the one that I have not, one of the ones I have not finished, and let me tell you, Halo is the reason that I initially bought an Xbox.
Holy shit, Jeremy! I just looked at this list. What the fuck? Okay.
It's the reason I bought a 360.
Yep.
It's the reason I bought an Xbox One. Oh, it's not centered, is it?
It's fine. You can see it.
Yeah.
There you go.
So the reason I bought an Xbox 360, the reason I bought an Xbox One, Halo 5, I think, is the worst one. Now,
I see how you've done this. So just to say for people who are watching the feed, we've got 2 unordered lists here. This is Jeremy and Kerry's Halo games, but it's just in chronological order right now. It is not currently in order.
Yeah, I have now just moved Halo 5 to the bottom. I think that this game is bad.
Okay.
I don't care for the story at all. I don't care for the world expansion that they did in this, the universe expansion. I didn't particularly care for the combat that much. I thought the multiplayer was decent.
Mm-hmm.
I'm changing my list.
I'm
putting it.
Changing it on the fly.
I'm putting Infinite at the bottom.
Oh my god, you are going to do that. Oh.
Only because I remembered really enjoying the multiplayer of Halo 5.
Okay. You didn't enjoy the Infinite's multiplayer?
I haven't gone back. I haven't played it this year at all.
But did you enjoy it when you did play it?
It's fine, but it's just not there. It's just not finished.
No, it's not finished.
And like Halo 5's Halo 5's multiplayer, I've said it before in the past. They had this Warzone named mechanic gameplay, which was this PvPvE thing with this thing where you would use cards to spend in the game to gain vehicles and weapons, and it was this big like fighting the enemy and fighting fighting the enemy team, but also fighting the environment to get your points up to win. It was really cool. And it was a really fun time. I had a really good time with it.
Question mark?
Yeah, no, I had a really fun time with it to the point where I would play that game mode now.
Okay.
And they've never gone back to it. And not many games do that, right? Like the closest thing I can think of is like Gambit in Destiny, and even then that's very different.
So different. Yeah, no, it's a good point.
Someone should make that game mode again in whatever they're making. They should more games should do this game mode. Be great in Apex. Just saying.
Mm-hmm. Jeremy, can you do me a favor while we're in here? Can you have the game that you were discussing like highlighted or like selected?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Oop.
Yeah, like that. That's great.
Which means I guess now I have to talk about Infinite.
You definitely have to talk about Infinite now that it's at the bottom and you're going bottom to top.
This game is not finished. This is an incomplete product. It's now been over 6 months and campaign co-op is still not out. It's coming, but it's still not out.
It's been 8 months.
It's been 8 months. Fuck me.
Because it's the 1st of August, if you didn't know.
Yeah, right. Look, just to touch on Halo 5 Guardians briefly as well, I think the level design was really lacking, and I think that there was nothing really enjoyable to do in their campaign. There wasn't really any fun moments that I found, and Infinite felt like that they...
It was no fun.
Yeah, it was no fun, and Infinite felt like that they didn't learn their lessons from that, for me. The campaign of Infinite, which is like the reason to play that game, I guess, because the multiplayer is going nowhere and there's no scene for it really, and the progression barely exists, and the customization is just dog shit. I don't care about the story, and I kind of really wanted to. I don't know if you remember, but I was really high on Halo Infinite leading up to it until it got really close. Like the initial reveal, the like them saying how much they were going to change the game, right? Like they were going all in on this new slip space engine. It was obviously going to be a whole big thing. The initial gameplay review that a lot of people hated, I really liked. I thought it looked really cool. I was excited to be in an open world, and then I played it, and it just was hollow, and there was no personality to it, and it was samey, and there was no exciting moments. there was so many pointless battles. There was so many useless moments that didn't feel like I was doing anything that was worth anything. And I really wanted to like it. I really did. I really, really did. And I don't care about it. The campaign is not as worse as Halo 5's campaign, but overall the game, for me, is worse. You're muted.
Pardon me. The campaign is like only... Rather, what should I say? The campaign is basically the only thing that is complete there. And even then, when you get to the ending of it, you're kind of like, oh, this kind of just ends.
Right, okay. And you know, I would say that maybe it's not complete because there's no co-op. And you know, and why one of the reasons Halo 5's campaign is worse is because there's no co-op, and they had no intention to locally.
No, there's co-op. There's no couch co-op.
Yes,
there's no split screen.
Yeah, it was not good. Neither of these were good, and I just feel like 343 don't get it. I feel like they genuinely don't understand the product that they're making, to the point that I wish they just were making their own thing.
I would have said the same up until Halo Infinite. I feel like Halo Infinite did a lot right by me personally. I'm something to preface here when we go through this ranking. I'm not the longtime Halo fan that J-Lo? that Jeremy is.
J-Lo's here.
Jennifer Lawrence.
That's not J-Lo. J-Lo's Jennifer Lopez.
Jennifer Lopez, my bad. I clearly don't know or understand. That's fine. I'm not the fan that Jeremy is. I've earned an Xbox for a total of 8 months. Like, that's it. I haven't had an Xbox prior to Halo Infinite ever. So I've only gotten to play these games at friends' houses or when the Master Chief Collection finally came to PC a few years ago.
Yep.
So that's my history with it. You've got a much more foundational, contemporaneous history with the games as they were releasing.
Yeah,
I don't have.
Yeah, like I got into Halo when ODST came out. That was when I got my 360, and that was when I got ODST. And then I went back and played through all of them. But I played a lot of Halo 1 during like high school and like a little bit of primary school as well, like on the PC.
Oh yeah, I did that. I played the Mac demo for Halo was excellent.
Oh yeah,
because it gave you the silent cartographer level.
Oh, Kerry. Kerry. The very first YouTube video I ever made was a tutorial on how to mod the Halo demo on Mac.
You're kidding? That's amazing.
Yeah, it's still on my YouTube. It's private.
I would like to see that. Please.
Yeah, I can show that. That's fun.
Maybe we could do that in the
post show. Yeah. Oh yeah. It is. I am young, and you should see the state of my desktop background.
Oh, this sounds vaguely familiar. Actually, I don't like this.
Yeah,
I've seen that state. It's bad.
Yes. There's a watermark over the video because I didn't have like it's over the entire thing. It's fucked.
Yeah. But yeah, the Mac demo was legit because you had Blood Gulch, but yeah, people modified the crap out of it. So you had like 3 Scorpions and 2 Wraiths, which you couldn't even use Wraiths in the main game.
Yes. Yes.
It was amazing.
It was so good. All
right, so that's number 8 and number 7.
Yes.
Is Halo Infinite and Halo 5 Guardians. What's number
6?
7. 6. The next one.
Halo 4.
Yep.
This one is the most classic Halo that wasn't made by Bungie. It's got the campaign, it's got the modes. The story was fine. It's a good-looking game. I think that the art direction in it is pretty decent.
Yeah.
Like I think genuinely, like, looking at this game when it came to PC, I went through and I played a couple of levels, and I'm like, you know what? This is a pretty good looking game. And you know what?
Yeah.
This came out on the fucking Xbox 360.
I mean, I remember thinking when it came out, like, it did the thing that all the Halo games did, which was like,
Skybox.
maybe I get an Xbox. Maybe I want an Xbox. Do I want an Xbox?
Yep.
And like I of course did, and of course I didn't get one because that would be ridiculous, and I'm glad because that would have been ridiculous. So I'm glad my parents had restraint when I asked them if I could get an Xbox. But seeing the posters for it and seeing footage for it is like, oh wow, yeah, no, this game's legit. This game's quite decent. Hang on, vamp for a bit. I gotta let my cat out.
Okay. Like I think that there's a lot of the Halo 4 story that misses. There's a lot of really poor tropes, like really dumb, ugly, gross sci-fi tropes. And like a lot of these sci-fi tropes that the story does in Halo 4 is just like it's not good, and you shouldn't have gone down that route. Like the AI, rampancy thing, it sucks, and it's worse that it's a woman, and they don't. The Cortana's design in Halo 4 is just fucking terrible. She's so pornography in that game.
She is. And to be fair, like, it's not like she hasn't just been a pretty much entirely naked woman for the whole rest of the series anyway. But yeah, they really like...
It's so much worse in 4. It is like...
They turned every curve and made them curvier and larger, and
it makes me feel kind of gross looking at it. Yeah, it's not good.
Thank God they fixed that in Infinite. Tell you what.
Yeah. Yes. I don't look. I will play through Halo 4 before I will play through 5 and Infinite. That is why it's on my list. I think the Prometheans are not fun to fight, but they were more fun there than they were anywhere else, I guess, because they were pretty easy enough. That the Spartan Ops thing was fucking nuts. The absolute gall on them to decide to make a secondary campaign that released every single week at the same time as a TV show that was happening, the Forward Unto Dawn TV show, was like, what a fucking ballsy move. And I think it was sick. I don't think that it can really... Going back to it, it doesn't hold up because it's a lot of the same missions sort of remixed. But what a fucking cool idea that was.
It's also so long. Like
there's so much content. There's so
if you try to complete Halo 4, it's an absolute nightmare.
Yes. And there
because like you have to they're balanced for 4 players, but there's an achievement for doing it solo on Legendary.
Yeah. Yeah. And on top of that, there's a bunch of unique content in there as well. Like there's like a unique scarab that you fight at some point. Like it's like they put the work in for that.
Okay, cool.
Next on the list at
number 5,
we have Halo 1.
Interesting.
Now, I'm going to say from this point on, I think all of these games are great. It's picking between my children at this point. I was
saying to Sam in the break, like, Halo has such highs and such lows.
Yes, yeah.
They might as well have called it Hilo.
And the highs and lows of Halo are split in between the people that made it and then the people that took over it, for me.
Yeah, it really is that, unfortunately.
Halo 1, I think, is really great and is a really, I don't have to talk to how important Halo 1 is to video games as a whole, but what I can say is that I think it feels the oldest, level design-wise, story-wise. It's a very basic game, and it's still a really good time, but it's quite long in some parts, and it gets a bit repetitive towards the end, as a lot of games of that era did.
You're not a big fan of the re-release either, are you? The 10th anniversary upgrades?
No, I think that it is an inferior-looking version of the game. It's part of the... Who made it? What's the name of the studio that...
I'm on it. I'm on the case.
Creative Assembly...
that sounds right.
Yeah, but I think that might be the Halo Wars people. Creative Vision. I don't know. Have a look for me. They made a bunch of the maps as well. They were the people that made the map packs.
Certain Affinity,
a different CA. I think that the style of it was all wrong, and I think that they put too much detail to the point that they lost the vibes and the tone of the levels that were being shown off in game. And I think that it's to understand what the game is trying to portray accurately, I think it is best to not play that version. That being said, I think that the remakes are great in the sense that obviously the back and forth is just top tier. You can hit that button and swap between the graphics. That's just incredible.
Which I think every person who's made a remake since then has learned not to include, because it gives them the point of comparison. Like, oh, this doesn't look as good. I don't like this. Oh, this thing was there.
Yep.
But also, it's an amazing thing to include.
It really is an amazing thing to include. And look, Halo 1's multiplayer is just legendary in so many ways.
It's foundational.
It's
a core pillar of gaming at this point.
It is. It is an old video game, and that sometimes it just feels like an old video game. Which is why the next one that is above it is Halo Reach.
Whoa! I didn't realize that was that far down on your list.
It's really good, but I don't love the multiplayer. I think I did at the time, but I don't anymore. It feels a little clunky at moments, and the inclusion of the armor abilities is a little bit weird. I think the campaign is really good. The bloom is a lot. It's got a weird style to it. It's a little bit grungy. It's a little bit mechanical everywhere. There's some good colors, but it's got a funny look to it. I think that the characters are the best part of the game, and the story is all right. It's got its own vibe. It's got its own music. Everything's a little bit dour. They are losing that whole time, and it's got a really great ending to that story. It just doesn't really leave you wanting more. I think it's very contained.
It's a very good full stop for Bungie's
it is
contributions to the franchise.
Yeah. It was.
You go through Halo 1, 2, 3 ODST, and then you have this prequel that's completely removed from Master Chief, but is core to the mythology of the series.
Yeah, it's a great farewell. I think it's a really good one. I think just the multiplayer wasn't great, but the Forge, I cannot tell you, during the heyday of Xbox Live on the 360, the Forge custom games that were coming out of that thing, they were absolutely bonkers. Mm-hmm. Some amazing custom maps, some amazing custom game types, and we've played them, we've seen them. They're all in the fucking Master Chief Collection now, and they are getting server browsers and all that stuff. It's still really fun.
We should go back. We should go back again.
We should go back. Number 3 on my list, Kerry, is Halo 2.
Wow.
Now, I'm going to say this is actually more of a personal preference thing in terms of I have the least attachment to Halo 2. Out of all
that's going to be my whole list. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Whereas, all of these games I played a ton of, and Halo 2 is the one I've played the least of. Halo 2 was... out of all the Bungie games, Halo 2 was the last one I played, because I played them in the weirdest order ever. I played ODST.
How did you do that? You started with ODST, but how did you play 3 before 2?
Because I didn't own 2. Halo 2 was the last one. I couldn't find it for a long time. It was
hilarious.
It was just, I just didn't own it.
But 3 was everywhere.
3 was everywhere. 1 then got the remake. Reach was obviously everywhere. And then 2 was the last one I played. And then I was playing the OG version of 2 via backwards compatible of the Xbox original on the 360, and it looked ugly and it was weird and
didn't play as good as 3.
It didn't play quite as good as 3, and it had funny boss fights in the middle, which were just a little bit weird.
And you completely missed the online.
I completely missed the online. Yeah, the first time I played Halo 2 multiplayer was at PAX when the Halo 2 anniversary was coming out.
If that hurts even me, Jeremy, because I played Halo 2 when it was contemporary at Tom's house. And that was the best time. We had, that map where you've got I don't remember what it's called, but you've got the dish in the middle and it's like on a big rock spire.
I think it's called a ray.
And you've got and it's got the different spokes out to either side.
Yeah.
And we played that map with ghosts. And it was that we found that whenever you were talking or like yelling or screaming, which we were doing because we were young, if you were doing that when you were in the dish, you almost always ended up dead. And so we'd be screaming and just yelling at each other. But then if you went into the dish or the fight went into the dish, like everyone just went, "Hoop."
Right, okay. That's funny.
It was very superstitious. It was very fun though.
Yeah, right. First time I ever played it was at PAX, and I had never played Halo 2 before, and I lined up and I won a free-for-all match with a bunch of people at PAX, and I got the last Halo shirt that was there.
Nice.
Yeah, I still got that shirt too. It's great.
I won a Halo match at the you remember the Acme exhibition they did in like 2007, the Game On, wasn't it?
Yeah, yep.
I won one of those. They had some Halo 3 terminals.
We might have been there at the same time. I remember that. I remember those Halo 3 terminals.
I mean, it was set over a number of weeks, I think.
I know, but you never know. I mean, we lived next to each other for a while.
I know, we might have got the same train in and then walked down the same road together to our houses next door to each other.
Look, I think the highs of 2 are like almost unmatched. Like there's some fucking incredible moments. We're gonna see them very soon as well because it's one of my fucking all timers. But like it's just the one I have the least connection to. But like it's fucking good, and I'll get to it later.
Okay, wow. Yeah, it has to be said as well. It is an absolutely masterful effort done with the anniversary remaster.
Yes. I also do need to stress that I think the remake of that is better than, like, it is worth playing through that version of the game, the remade one.
Yeah, even just for the cutscenes. The cutscenes are... It's like, how everyone talks about like Blizzard cutscenes? It's that level of good.
It is. Blur did an incredible fucking job.
We haven't released this yet, but upcoming is an episode of The Pecking Order where we talk about whether we would like to kiss the Arbiter, and that is based on the cutscenes from Halo 2. Well, it's the character in general, but we use the Halo 2 cutscenes as a basis because they are so high fidelity and so impressive.
Yep. Number 2 on my list, Kerry. I've got 2 games left.
So you've got Halo 3 and Halo 3 ODST.
Yeah.
I think I know what your top one is. So I'm going to say that number 2 for you is Halo 3.
You are correct.
Nailed it.
It's just divine. It's just incredible. It's like it's the best Halo's been. And it's just the best Halo's been. It's the complete package. It is the incredible story. It is a really great ending, which, like, oh my god, they pulled off an ending.
Yep.
It is. I don't know if you know this. Bungie don't know how to do that anymore. It is the incredible multiplayer at the height of the Xbox Live on the 360. It is social multiplayer as well, which, like, they just pulled it off, and it was almost flawless, right? Like when Halo 3's multiplayer was happening, there was hundreds of thousands of people online. It was everyone had a microphone every night. It was you went online on the 360 and you had 40 friends all playing Halo 3 custom games, and you just like you went online and then you got an invite, or you jumped in the game and it would have popped up saying, hey, everyone just is playing Halo 3. And then people would say like, hey, just join my game. We're not even talking right now, but I'm just inviting you. And you just joined because whatever it was going to be your entire night.
Yeah.
And it was just the fucking best. Forge was like, oh my god, they brought a map editor to a console.
And it was so robust.
It was so robust. Obviously, it got better, but like, oh my god, at the time, like, it just you could make anything. Then they brought out maps that then built off of that, like the sandbox one and the one inside the armory, which was just, you could make any map you want. Theater mode, you could make videos, you could share videos, link them to your profile, tell people to watch the video that you made on your profile. They would then download it and watch it. You could then link game types, maps, so much cool shit. The music, it's maybe a perfect video game.
Campaign's a little short.
I think it's paced well enough. It is short.
It is paced well. That's a good point. It's paced very well.
It doesn't outstay its welcome, and I also think that the campaign length, while maybe a little bit short, I don't feel like that I'm sitting there going like nothing was. It didn't feel rushed. I think is maybe the most important thing. It was just like a short action film.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Coming off the back of Halo 2 when we were playing it for MCC, it was very much like, wow, Halo 2 took like 14 hours and this took 5.
Yeah. Yeah. And Halo 2 was harder. Halo 3 was a bit easier.
Yeah.
Still looks great. I'm looking forward to whenever they remake it, but like still looks really good. Turns out like just solid art direction can just make a game look like timeless almost.
Yeah, they upresed it for Master Chief Collection, and that's taken it a long way, but it kind of sits in the Last of Us kind of territory right now, where it's excellent for the time.
It's the faces.
It's aged for what it is today, but still serviceable.
It's the funny faces, I think, is what is the part that's aging the most. Which leads me to my number one. Should come
funny faces.
Funny faces. Should come as no surprise. My number one is Halo 3 ODST. I think that at this game's fundamental level, it is more than the sum of its parts, more so than any of the others, because it doesn't have a multiplayer suite, a competitive multiplayer suite. It has the firefight mode. It has the horde mode. It has the PvE wave-based mode. The first time Halo had done it, Firefight. It has just an incredibly unique campaign with very different characters. There's no Spartans in this game. There's no elites in this game. You are fighting adjacent to the main story. You are doing what is the most important story to you, but not the most important thing that's happening at the moment. But that doesn't matter. Because it's not about what is. It's a battle in a war. It is not you winning the war, right? Which I think is it's really hard to make that work. And I think that's where, for me, something like Infinite doesn't work, because there is this big looming thing, right? And you're
basically not a part of it.
Well, like in Infinite, you are a part of it. It is this big thing that you are trying to work for and push forward, right? But in ODST, you're fighting against the Covenant, but your job isn't to win the battle, because you've entered an area that's already lost, but you've got a mission, and the mission is not to take back the city. It is to extract this alien tech. And it is the most important thing to the characters that you're playing, which is why that story works. It's the Rogue One of the Halo. Well, I mean, actually, Halo Reach is actually the Rogue One, but you know what I mean. It is the most important thing that is happening to those characters at that time, which is why that story works. Kick-ass music, as always. Cool set pieces. Even though you're not a Spartan, you feel weaker right? Like you've got less health and it doesn't regen. It's at nighttime and it's got that fucking midnight saxophone. It's got that saxophone. It's got that jazz. It's got that rain.
Beautiful song.
It's got that vibe.
Yeah, it's called Rain. It's got another name because they use it a few times, but
yeah,
the one from ODST is called Rain.
And it's got the vibes. The vibes are unmatched.
It's called Deference for Darkness is the subtitle for Rain.
Mwah, mwah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. ODST is...
And
it's so strange. It's like a love letter to itself. You know what I mean? Like,
and coming off 3, they made this.
It's a really bold move.
It is so unique. And of course, the environmental storytelling of you working with like the city AI and the city AI slowly wind. It's an open world also. Like it's small, but it's an open world game. Which then has you branch off into a mission, and so you've got the important critical Halo moments of set pieces, and then you're back into an open world. Like what a great game.
I feel like there's a heavy burden on my shoulders now to follow up from your list. We did our list in the break. I'm just going to glance at my list now to remember my answers. Oh boy.
While you're doing that, I'm going to mention that what I've got on screen currently is the list, and it's my Notion page, and it's completely white aside from the black text, and I cannot tell you how bright this is on my eyes, considering I've got two floodlights also pointing directly on my face.
I am lower the brightness
of what?
The screen, the monitor.
I don't know where the button is. I'm blind.
That's so funny. Can you like invert your screen colors? Probably not for that one monitor, right?
It's because I've got the text version. Sorry, I've got the browser version happening at the moment, and there's no dark mode in the browser version, I think.
Oh no!
Because they want you to download the app, but the app on Windows has got a memory leak.
Oh, that's right.
Bloody Notion.
Well, good luck with that.
Yeah, it's fine.
We're gonna go through my list. I think we'll breeze through this because having just done the recap of what each game is through Jeremy's list, I think that's fine. So we're just going to talk about sort of like my reasoning for where each thing is. Bottom to top, same as you, Jeremy.
Yep.
Starting in the 8th position is Halo 4.
Okay.
My least favorite game is Halo 4. I don't hate any of these games. I didn't come to any of these games at the time, as I mentioned earlier, which means that I didn't come to them with a weight of expectation. When I was playing Halo 5 this year, I think, wasn't it? Or last year? This year, one or the other. Within the last 12 months, I played through Halo 4 and Halo 5. Yeah, I think it was before Infinite.
Yes. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, it was last year. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Oh, no. It was alongside Infinite, because I had to get my Xbox, because Halo 5 isn't on anything else.
Right, yeah, that's right.
It was alongside Infinite. Okay, so but point being, Halo 4, I don't hate any of these games. And when I came to 4, I knew it was less liked. When I came to 5, I knew it was really disliked. So I could just kind of accept them for what they are. And what they are is, unfortunately, the worst games in the main Halo series. I don't hate them, though. There are some bad gameplay design moments in each of them. But I find them really kind of bland and nothingy. The story in 4's fine, but yeah, the Cortana stuff is really an issue. And it sets off this chain of events with 343 where they can't let go of Cortana, even although the first game they made is all about letting go of Cortana.
Yeah.
And then 5 is about, Cortana's not dead and she's a bad person. And Infinite's about like, Cortana is dead and you have to move on. And here's a new Cortana.
The turn from the end of Halo 3 having this uneasy truce in between the humans, the UNSC and elites, and then having Master Chief and the Arbiter being, friends at the end.
And then but Master Chief goes into stasis.
Yeah, the Master Chief goes into stasis, and the very beginning of Halo 4 is you killing an elite without hesitation, and Cortana and Chief not even mentioning it. Not even bringing it up at all.
Yeah, because it's like a new Halo. You need to do Halo things, like kill elites. Yeah, it's... Halo 4 is it's a bit of a mess.
It's a mess.
Probably not as much of a mess as 5, but
yeah,
I don't want to replay it. I guess full stop. It's a fine game. It pulled me through. It had some cool moments. There's this cool like trench run ghost thing, and then the trench run with the ship is not actually that cool.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine.
It's a 5 out of 10.
Prometheans are a problem. Their weapons are kind of cool.
Yeah.
But like that's kind of it. Second on my list is Halo 5 Guardians. I would replay this more than I would replay 4. It looks way better, being a new game. I enjoyed, for the most part, the new characters. I just enjoyed having a bit of difference in this one. It was trying to be its own thing, and I think it succeeded in a lot of ways. Visually, I think it's quite different. I like the way the different UIs work. I like the way the cinematics look and the armor and the general design of things in that game, I think, is kind of cool. They were trying to do something different, kind of moving on from the few things they tweaked with 4. Whereas 4 kind of felt like knockoff Halo in a way. 5 feels like something different, something tangibly different. It just didn't pay off.
It definitely does. Yeah.
And apparently the multiplayer is great. I didn't really get to it. I don't plan on getting to it, but apparently the multiplayer was great. So that's where it lands for me. Coming in number 6, third from the bottom, is Halo ODST.
Halo 3 ODST.
Halo 3 ODST. Jeremy's number 1 is my number 6. Why is that for me? Something I noticed when we were playing through these games together, Jeremy. A lot of these were my first time playing these campaigns. I didn't enjoy them as much playing with someone, because it's that kind of thing where it's like, you're talking to someone, you miss a dialogue line, or you don't get as immersed. And I do think that was for me.
Really can make you miss stuff.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of like mid-gameplay, mid-level stuff that they put in each of these games, and then you can't read them because they don't have subtitles, which is baffling. I do think that detracted from my experience with this game a fair bit. But I'm also, I don't know that I really appreciate the you're a weak soldier vibe. Like, I don't know, it doesn't necessarily do it for me. And I found the open world quite limited and not that clear where to go. Not that exciting to try and do side stuff for me. The soundtrack is amazing. The story's okay. Cool seeing, a bunch of Firefly actors in there. Cool, literally seeing Nathan Fillion in there is fun. It's got its moments. It's not bad. I find it just a bit bland, I guess. Pardon me. Personally. Not bad, but just a bit. It just kind of washes over me. Next after that, I have Halo 1 in the number 5 spot. I quite like Halo 1. We spoke about, my history with with the Mac demo. Of course, played it at friends' houses. Like it's great. Like it's, was speaking about how Halo 3's it's so good.
I know.
I played like dozens of hours on that demo.
Yeah. I had 15 gigs worth of mods.
Oh fuck, that's ridiculous. Jeremy.
Like not all going at the same time, but I had them in folders.
But just for a demo, wild. Especially back then when games were like 4 gig.
Yeah.
Halo 1's amazing, and it is aged. It's interesting going back to it, and you can kind of see how it has more of a similarity in DNA and design with something like Half-Life, which I wouldn't have said was similar 20 years ago when they were new. But when you look at them now, it's like, oh yeah, this has got Half-Life all throughout it. It's interesting. Halo 1 is really good though. The story's great. The design, I think, is what holds it back the most. I quite like the anniversary editions. I don't mind the artistic choices that were made what that does to the tone and stuff like that between the different versions. So I quite like how Halo 1 Anniversary looks. But yeah, it's good. It's a really good foundation. A lot of these are kind of like that. It's like, yeah, no, it's really good. Halo 2 is my number 4.
Oh my god, Halo Infinite's so high on your list.
Jeremy,
God.
this knock 'em, rock 'em, robots section is going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot. Halo 2, number 4. This game's really cool. It's really long. The Anniversary Edition is amazing. The fidelity on the assets in number 2 is absolutely astounding. It looks so good. And it's got some of the best moments. Like, the amount that Johnson and Miranda Keyes get involved in this story, I think, is really cool, and really fleshes out how good the story is. The whole twist with, you're playing the Arbiter, and then at some point you start working together, and seeing everything turn from the Arbiter's side when the brutes turn on the elites, like, they tell such an interesting story. They tell like 2 really interesting stories in that game at the same time.
Yeah.
Well, Chief's story isn't that interesting, but Keyes and Johnson together, and then they end up together with the Arbiters. That whole section, and then the War Master as well. That game's it's really good. It's just far too long.
It's a bit long.
It's so long. Like, the missions are like an hour each.
You know who's gonna be longer? They cut a mission like really close to the end of that game. Like, really close. Like, another mission with, like, a giant, like, flood boss.
Oh, thank God they didn't do that.
But, like, on the ship at the end is when it was going to be as well. Like in this...
On
High Charity, yeah. It's in the game.
That's good. It's good they didn't do that.
You can see what it looks like, I think, but you can't, like...
Oh, like you can data mine the assets.
Yeah, like the files. It doesn't do anything, but, yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. I should look that up. Game's very long, but the story's very cool. Giving you that extra knowledge of what the Flood is and how strong a threat they really are, and also seeing getting more of an understanding. They flesh everything out, and it works so well. And then the cutscenes. There's so many excellent moments. Like, I'm not going to mention it because I realize it might be the spoiler for what your favorite moment is, but like, I just thought of it off the top of my head. I'm like, yep, that moment's fantastic. Yeah, so many great moments. Let's hurry up this ranking so we can look at some excellent Halo footage. Number 3 is Halo Infinite. Last year's Halo Infinite. Jeremy's last place game. Number 3 for me, my game of the year last year. This game is incomplete. You're right. Which is a big reason of why you rated it so low. However, I don't think in the same way that you do that 343 don't get it. I think this is them showing us that on some level they do understand Halo. This game feels like what I remember Halo 3 feeling like when I played it for the first time, but new again, but modern. I think the grappling hook system worked so well. I think the exploration on the Zeta Halo was really fun, even if the environments did get a bit samey. I thought the story was fine. It had some actually really decent moments, like actually emotional moments. Couple of decent set pieces, but not that many. But one of the best set pieces is at the start when you blow up the ship, and then it's like decaying, it's like blowing up around you. I liked that moment. I know it did nothing for you, but
do you remember what I said when I played it?
No, I don't. You said it feels like Halo 5, didn't you?
I was like, oh no! I literally said this is just the Halo 5 level, and that was my realization.
Well, yeah, you said that, and I had just played Halo 5, and I'm like, you're so off base, like you're so wrong. But it was doing the same feelings for you that the Halo 5 levels did, so it's not wrong. It's just how it landed for you. Yeah, I really dug this game. I really, really, really enjoyed it. I loved the size of the open world. I thought it was nice and palatable. It should have been bigger, honestly, but for what it was, I kind of just liked it anyway. I just thought it was a decent bite-sized chunk of open Halo. I think the fidelity of the assets is amazing. I think you can pull off a bunch of cool strategies. I think the forward operating base thing where you can call in the Razorback and get a whole trunk full of Marines and give them all like light rifles and just traipse around the Halo ring with a whole squad decked out with as strong a weapon as you can find. Like, I think there's a lot of cool stuff you can do in that game. It's missing a lot of moments, I guess. I think it's missing a lot of what would have been so fantastic playing the games originally at the first time when they were contemporary. A lot of the cool moments in Halo 2, a lot of the set pieces there, you don't get. Same with all of the best, most bombastic moments of 2, Reach, and 3 that are so iconic and so memorable and so, like, property defining. You really don't get much of that here at all.
Yeah.
For me, it's that classic Kerry thing of you made the second to second gameplay, not even like mission to mission or like minute to minute. No, like to move around, to shoot, to the very core loop of what it is to be in this game was so refined, I think, for me, to be very, very enjoyable. It ticks all the boxes in my head in the same way a roguelike does. Fun to move, fun to attack, fun to combat. Fun. The side stuff is worth doing. The open world is not too large that I feel like I can tick off all the boxes. There's enough tracking. It's really good. So incomplete. So very incomplete. Forge not being there is disastrous. Co-op not being there is disastrous. And they've really shot themselves in the foot. I hope they can claw their way back. I hope the multiplayer troubles at the start were a real problem too. That being said, I've played a lot of the Halo 3 multiplayer. It's the multiplayer suite It's the Halo Infinite multiplayer. It's the multiplayer suite in Halo I've played the most on my own.
Right. Okay.
A lot of the others I haven't.
Yeah.
A lot of most multiplayer games I don't play on my own these days, but this one I would go back to, and I would. It's so fun. I think they've got a real hit on their hands if they could flesh it out in time before it dies, because I think it's on life support at the moment.
Fuck, we're in real trouble now, aren't we?
Yeah, I love it, and I really like what it is, and if it survives and thrives, I'll be there with it. But right now, the community is not as high on it as I am, and they need that community to be alongside the development team the whole way if they're going to run this as long as they want to. I think the foundation for the vision for what this game can be and has been is a great start. But man, they need to hit them. They need to get some momentum. They need to get some positive will. They need to get some juices flowing. It needs to pick up, and it probably needs to pick up faster than they're going to get to. I don't know what the resuscitated lifespan of this game is going to be going forward. All of that being said, I had a fantastic time with it last year. I really, really dug it. That was a lot of negative speak for my number 3.
Sure
number
was.
2. Number 2, Halo Reach. That's all set. What is
I was going to say I haven't had to move it for a while. not since Halo 1.
Reach. Yep. Halo Reach is my number 2. It's not as iconic for me as number 3, but it does a lot of things right. And it is that interesting story. It does have those fantastic set pieces of like the whatever they call the ship, the spear, the saber. The saber ship going into space. That moment is fantastic. All of the cutscenes at the end of the missions, like the orbital shots coming out of orbit, the different ships getting shot, and you're falling in love with the characters, and the characters start getting sort of hurt and endangered, and the soundtrack in that one's amazing. That one is core Halo at its finest, it feels like. It's sort of like the best Halo that Bungie could have made at that time. Like, they did it. For having already finished the franchise, they then went on and made the best Halo they could. With next to no caveats, I would say. It's modernized in a lot of ways that makes it strange. And it's the stuff that you dislike the most now, like the armor kits and stuff like that. But
I'm gonna say, while I think they're weird, I don't think they're like a negative. It's just weird.
Yeah, totally. But Halo Reach is, I've got so much fondness for the videos that came out of this game, for the funny moments and the clips and the Forge modes and the few games I got to play of it when it was contemporary. And then it's probably the one I played the most on PC. Probably because it came out first. It came out first. everyone jumped on it with us, and that got custom modes first as well.
Yeah, it's the most robust of the multiplayers of that era of Halo. It was
it is the most robust. Robust, I think, is a good way of saying it, because I don't think it's the best Halo multiplayer suite.
Yeah.
The best goes to my number one, which is Halo 3. Halo 3 was such a moment. Even though I didn't have the console, it was such a moment. The videos that came out from it, that was when I got into Red vs. Blue properly. Like, just myself, not like my brother watching it and being like, hey, this is funny. Like, and Season 6 of Red vs. Blue, first one done in Halo 3, that season is the best of RVB, but that's kind of beside the point.
I quite liked Season 7.
You like Season 7?
The middle one. The one
that one's
was
so strange.
Yeah.
Season 6 was so cinematic. It had so many great moments.
Season 7 was the one that ended like on it had like a soft ending. It was like a Breaking Bad season ending.
Yeah, didn't one of them shoot the other? Didn't Wash? Yeah, Wash came back as like evil and killed, shot someone in the leg or something.
It's been a very long time.
Season 6 was fantastic. I think that's because it was the first one they hired writers for. Anyway,
yeah, maybe.
And then Season 8, they brought in Monty Ohm and they started animating. Anyway, okay, I'm getting so distracted. The art direction in 3, I think, is, for the multiplayer, it comes through the best. It ages the best. It's kind of peerless. Like, it's timeless in a way. Like, it just looks absolutely gorgeous. I love the way the different armor sets look on the Spartans in Halo 3. I love the way the maps look. I think the colors they use are so bright and vibrant. I love the menu sounds. I love the vehicles. I think 3 is just my absolute favorite, multiplayer and campaign. It's got some of the best moments. It is just too short is my only issue with it, but especially after having played 2, and then when the flood ship crashes and you get that message from Cortana, it actually means something to you because you played the previous games, and you finally go back to High Charity. Like, you're in the middle of space, you're so far away from Earth, and you're just there to do what you can. It's just you and one ship. Well, no, it's a few ships, but like, it's not many. It's you and not much. And you just got to do what you can, and it sort of becomes this real last-ditch effort to pull it together. Halo 3 is so wonderful. I really, really, really like it.
Yeah. Yep.
It gives you some great Halo 1 vibes, which is great.
Yeah. No, it does. It feels like when you watch a movie, when you watch a movie or a TV show or play a game, and you're consuming like a great. It's like oh, this is just gonna be an all timer, because it feels like something that's been around for a very long time, even though it's just come out. Yeah. Like it's so obvious, and it's what
was a modern example of a game doing that for you? I think for me, maybe Spider-Man. Like, playing it is like, I'm going to be talking about it. Oh no, probably Final Fantasy VII Remake. Whereas like, I'm going to be talking about this for years.
Yeah, like I think for me it was like, I guess like Outer Wilds, but like movie wise, I think like Everything Everywhere All at Once is the equivalent to that. Where you sort of like, oh, like this is just they made like a perfect thing. Spider-Verse, I think, is another really good example of like oh, they just made a thing that feels new and old and like it's always been here.
Yeah, it's innovative, but it honors what came before and uses it and knows that you know it, and even if you don't, you'll be along for the ride, and yeah. Halo 3 is amazing. Halo 3 is so good. I love Halo 3. Jeremy, let's go to our moments. What are some of our favorite moments before we go to each other's throats to wrangle this list into one cohesive whole? What are some of the best Halo moments? We're starting with me, or we're starting with you?
This is you.
This is me. So this is the first one that came to mind. This is specifically a Halo 2 cutscene, anniversary cutscene. It's not my favorite moment of the game, but it is an awesome one. Let it play. We'll just talk over it. Mostly just because of the visuals. Like, this is just sort of an example of how standout the visuals in this game are in the Anniversary Edition, with these, these J.J. Abrams, like, actual camera zooms in space.
They've got the crash zooms. They've got the cuts. And they've got,
like, the harsh lighting of the sun. And this thing where Master Chief's just riding a bomb into another ship while being pulled into the gravity of Earth after being launched from a space station. And, his team's ships are getting blown apart at the same time, and they're clearing a way for him. And, it's an absolutely amazing scene.
And what you've linked me here is prior to one of the best lines in the series, which is just like, he asks Lord Hood.
Who is it? Oh yeah, Colonel Hood, Captain Hood.
I think it's Lord. I think his
Lord
name is
Hood.
Yeah, I think it's Lord Hood. He goes, sir. Yeah, he goes, permission to leave or something.
Yeah.
And he goes, for what purpose, Master Chief? And he goes like, to give the Covenant back their bomb. And
permission granted.
There's a beat where he waits and thinks about it for a moment and goes, permission granted. Like, it's just, he just knows that this
one person,
this one-man army is going to do the stupidest thing imaginable, and it's going to work.
and it's worth it. So it's
always
it's
going
worth
to
sending
work.
our most valuable military asset to do this ridiculous thing, because it'll probably work. I mean, that's part of it as well. Like, we should really talk about Master Chief. It's a really strange, like, Chosen One narrative. You know what I mean? Especially when you get into the deeper lore of it.
Yeah.
Because, like, it's not... It's like, chemically castrated, tortured, experimented upon super soldier.
Yeah.
But it's war, so it's okay, and can do amazing things in the face of incredible, like, odds. And it's such a strange sci-fi narrative.
Well, it's a mythos, right? It's the takeoff of the 300 Spartans. It's the exact same story. It's the they never died. They were missing in battle. It's they could take on whole armies on their own. The reason they were called the Spartan 2 program initially in the canon, which is, it got changed at some point because the fucking 343 writers don't get it, is because it was... The reason they're called Spartan 2s in Halo 1 and stuff is because they were meant to be the successor to the original Spartans from
right.
Ancient Crimes.
Yeah.
And then they went
That's
back
right.
and just made Spartan 1s because they don't understand.
Yeah.
Subtext. They're meant to be these mythical heroes that are, able to pull off impossible feats to protect Earth when Earth needs it, sort of thing, right?
But it's not like it's not an Avengers moment. It's we've been doing war crimes for 25 years to lead to this moment, and
yes.
you might be the only reason that we're still alive after this, and it's incredibly heinous, the things that we've done.
Yes.
But now that we're here,
yeah, it's this weird duality of like, I hate the reason why we have this, but like we need it.
Thank God we do.
Yeah, which I think is really interesting, and I wish they sort of spent more time on that, but in a intelligent way. You want to talk us through this one as well?
So this is my legitimate favorite moment. This is the ending of Halo 3. The end of Halo 1 is sort of famous for its Warthog run, and it's kind of... So this is, you're on the Ark, which is the thing that controls all of the Halo rings, and... Well, spoilers, by the way, for the end of Halo 3. And you've set the Ark to destroy itself, to blow up, and you've got a date with a ship to get to. You can maybe get off this exploding gigantic planet-sized facility, but you have to leave very quickly, and that involves driving across exploding geometry for like 10 minutes straight. What is that person doing?
This person not a
The person in the video is driving into a wall. Oh my god. Anyway, that's fine. It's It's an incredible moment. You get to see the scenery fall away. Like it's just you. It's just the Arbiter. Everyone else has died. Like literally everyone else that came with you on this impossible mission has died, and you just gotta get to the ship before it explodes, and then you don't even know what's gonna happen after that point. Because even at that point, you're in the middle of nowhere, so far away from Earth, so far away from your allies, surrounded by so many Flood who will devour you
Yeah.
and take over the solar system. It's just amazing. It's an incredible moment. The first game did this as well. You set the Halo ring to self-destruct, and then you have to get off it. But this one pulls it off with all of its destruction. It really sells it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this
and the sunset, on the jumps, and the music at the same time. It's incredible. It's a definitive Halo moment.
Driving through Anor Londo, it's great.
Yeah, if you kill the boss at the end, then the sun turns out, and you find out it's all an illusion.
Yeah.
Did you get to that bit in Dark Souls where you find out that Anor Londo isn't actually in sunshine? It's in darkness.
In Dark Souls 1?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't remember.
Spoilers.
I don't remember.
It's an illusion, Michael.
My all-time moment.
Also from Halo 2 cutscenes.
From Halo 2 cutscenes. Whoop, that's loud. Your Master Chief, you've just fought a Scarab, and it's one of the coolest fights. There's a Scarab walking through the street, and you got to destroy it before it reaches the end. Battling on it. It's cool as hell.
And
Chief looks cool as hell.
Invading force ship standing above the city. It's invaded Earth.
Yeah. And then you look up and you see the giant fucking Earth.
Forward Unto Dawn? Or Pillar of Autumn.
Pillar of Autumn is what it is. Then a wormhole appears. The enemy tries to flee because they didn't actually mean to go to Earth, and so they try and get the fuck out of there. And then as the wormhole appears, you're like, fuck it, like we gotta gun it. And there's just
we gotta follow them. We need to know why they're here.
And there's just crash zooms, and there is jumps, and it is just a go moment. Like in the cutscene, it's just like we need to go now, and it's like, no, you're not going. And it's just like the wormhole is open, and then one of them makes the call and says green light, and they just fucking run just into hell. They have no idea what is on the other side of it, but there is no hesitation from anybody, and it is a cool moment.
It is just a cool moment. And because they're going like, oh god, they're entering slip space. Like they know what a slip space warp means in atmosphere above the planet. And what happens is you see it, the displacement of energy absolutely annihilates the city.
Yeah.
Like it's like a nuclear bomb almost of energy being blasted away from this warp drive.
It is. And I want to then expound on that by saying that moment, which is maybe the coolest moment in Halo 1, 2, and 3, is then the catalyst for ODST. So the initial opening of Halo 3 ODST is a bunch of ODSTs dropping into the city of New Mombasa. Yeah. And as that happens, you see a different perspective of that event happening. You see the ship flying into the wormhole, and you can see a tiny speck of the Pillar of Autumn fly in, because that game was not nearly as high fidelity. But you can see it. It's there. It flies in, and it's cool. And that city is fucked because of that moment that happens in Halo 2. And it is very much a, like... it is a story. You know how like Rogue One exists because like of that one idea of that, like the reason the Death Star was able to be blown up because it was intentionally designed that way, and then they made a whole movie about it. It's kind of like that. So many
people were like, oh, this station wouldn't be so easy to destroy, and then they were like, whoa, what if we made it make sense as to why it's so easy to destroy?
Yeah, which I think is great. I think that's really good world building, storytelling, all that stuff, right? It makes the universe feel bigger without compromising, and it's a good way to look at something from a different angle.
I'd say that's one of the best like type/moments of fan service out there.
Yeah, because it feels legitimate. It feels earned and doesn't feel like...
It's not pandering.
It's not pandering.
It's we know that the audience has an interest in this. Let's develop it honestly.
Yeah. Let's get into it.
Those are the moments. Now it's time. I've got written in our document here, the name of this segment is Ranking Duel of the Arbiters of Fate. Which doesn't make much sense.
Not at
all. It's time to put these together. Jeremy, you said you had a bit of an idea of how to do this.
No, this was the idea that we go through, see what's similar.
Okay.
Moves and then like maybe like make cases at each other.
Okay. So let's ignore Halo Infinite for the moment and let's look at Halo 4 and 5 because you and I have these reversed.
Yeah.
So we have to reconcile that. Can we get a third list?
I can make a third list. I think.
Oh. So we need to reconcile Kerry.
Didn't work at all. Vamp, and I'll try and get it working.
So we need to reconcile. We need to reconcile this whole list. But one of the easiest things to do right now is we just need to reconcile. I think we're both pretty comfortable with Halo 4 and 5 being pretty rock bottom on this list. But we need to figure out which one goes to the top, which one goes to the bottom, out of those two. Also, looking at this, we've got a similar like top 4 if you exclude Halo Infinite. Oh, even then, our lists are actually surprisingly different. When you take Infinite and ODST, which were both of our really high ones, and like reverse them, like it's a bit messy. Halo 3 is very high. ODST is so much lower on my list though than it is on Jeremy's, while Halo Infinite is so much higher on my list than it is on Jeremy's.
I'm very happy to have Halo 3 at the top.
Okay. You're willing to bargain for that?
Yes. My price. My price, good
That makes
sir.
the most sense to me.
Yes, no. I'm actually willing to say it like without price that I'm more than happy to have Halo 3 at the top.
Because like you were saying ODST was your preference thing, like you enjoy it the most there.
Yeah, no, like I did say Halo 3 is the best Halo's ever been.
Yeah, okay. So let's say Halo 3, we're happy with Halo 3 at the top. Now, let's reconcile Halo 4 and 5 before we jump into the thick of it. Because ODST and Infinite are about to, like, slaughter each other, and it's not going to be pretty. So Halo 4 and 5. Your list, Jeremy, you did ranked number 6 was Halo 4, ranked number 7 is Halo 5. For me, I did ranked number 7 is Halo 5, ranked number 8 is Halo 4. So we've got them in reversed order on top of each other. You would rather play 4 than 5. I would rather play 5 than 4. If we had to get into it today, Jeremy, let's say campaign, what would you rather play?
4.
Okay.
Here's the thing.
Multiplayer,
I never finished 5.
Oh, yeah. All right. Multiplayer, what would you rather play?
I don't care.
You don't care? After all that glowing stuff you had to say about Warzone, you don't care?
Yeah, but so here's the thing. So Warzone was pretty cool. I don't remember a single thing about Halo 5 has got this really weird arena-based multiplayer, which has got it's got hovering and mantling and look, it's a precursor to Infinite, but Infinite did it much better. But it's weird, and it's got weird like jetpack ground pounding and dashing and strafing.
That did always look weird.
It is weird. It is a very weird thing.
Okay, I'm willing to accept Halo 5 going below 4, because it is such a mess.
Yeah, I don't particularly have much of a. I think Halo 4 is better only because I think the all of the stuff with the other fire team in Halo 5, like really, like it just, I don't care about it. Like the weird hunt for Master Chief, the weird like Chiefs, like bunch of Chiefs mates just rock up, like Linda and Fred, and like you've been in books this whole time and you just show up.
Blue team, you know.
Fuck is Blue Team? And what's the other team called?
Team Osiris.
Why are they so different?
I don't know.
And like
because they're not the same, Jeremy. They're on opposing sides.
Fire Team Osiris is also really Avengers-y. They're all.
So is the soundtrack, actually.
Yeah, I know. There's that weird like they're doing like kung fu at each other at some point, and they're doing like weird like rock'em sock'em robots, but like they're like. Remember there's that fight between Locke and Chief?
Yeah.
And
Master Chief's visor gets scratched or something.
Yeah. And Chief's armor looks fucking shithouse in 5 and 4.
Yeah, the design of 5 is a bit... The Master Chief design of 5 is a bit strange. It works... Osiris's squad and Locke looks great. And like the aliens look good, I think.
And Fillion's in it and he's great.
Yes, he is. Fantastic. But yeah, the Spartan design work is very odd in that game. Very strange.
It's yeah. I think
4 too.
Like 4 as well. I think 4 still feels like a weird stepsister to 3.
Yeah, it does. I think that's fair. It's not far enough removed from it in terms of design that it feels different enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's fine. Halo 5's above Halo 4 in this. You've left room at the bottom for whatever we put there. We'll see what happens.
These ones might be the bottom.
Yeah. So what are we going to pick next after that? We've got...
I think... All right, how about Reach? And how about we put Reach... okay, maybe we have to talk to...
Shall we talk about Halo 2 and Halo Reach?
Yeah.
Okay.
Halo 2 is better.
Let's do that. Halo 2 is better than Halo Reach. That's interesting. So you have it one above. You have 2 one above Reach. That was so confusing to say. You have Halo 2 1 place above Halo Reach. I have Halo Reach 2 places above Halo 2.
Let me make my case to you. We both just played 2 fucking kick-ass moments from Halo 2 as our old timers.
Do you think there's a Master Chief factor? You know what I mean?
I think there is.
As much as we want to say Reach is a standalone story, it's just as important as the main game. It's also I don't care about Jorg as much as I care about John. I don't care about getting Halsey off a dying planet as I care about riding a ship through slip space.
And look,
the overthrowing of the elites during the Covenant. And the fall of High Charity. There's a lot of cool shit into.
And in Reach, Carter, Kat, Emil, they've got deaths, and there's not a whole lot of character going on.
That's true. A lot of those...
They're archetypes, and they're cool to look at, but there's not a whole lot of oh no, Carter.
Carter! That's a good point. The only one I could remember was the one whose name I made fun of.
Jorg.
Jorg. Yeah, that's a good point. I feel like they all have maybe a total of 20 lines each, except for George and...
Oh no, Kat does all of the exposition.
Yeah, it's Kat and George, and they go pretty early.
Yeah.
I think they're the 2 that go first.
Yeah, because June's the only one that survives.
Yeah,
and Emil is
Emil
last.
dies at the end. Yeah. What happens to Carter?
He's in the middle. He throws his little hornet into a scarab.
Okay. I don't remember that at all.
It's in the desert.
He dies there?
Yeah,
I don't remember that
he
in the
pilots into a scarab because it's about to shoot you. It's cool.
I don't remember that at all.
Cat just gets sniped.
That one's devastating because it's so unexpected.
That one feels real.
Yeah, it does. And also,
'Cause
like,
she's
the
like
city is...
She's mid-sentence.
Yeah, she's mid-sentence. She's mid-stride. And then she just goes limp because they shoot her in the head. Yeah, that one's brutal. All right, so what does that mean then? You're saying 2 is above Reach. Oh, Reach just plays that much better, though, you know?
Oh.
Oh, no, it's a dot point. 2 plays that... Reach plays that much better. But the history of 2... For what it means for the history going forward, yeah, I think you're right.
We also haven't brought up the Steve Vai factor, Kerry.
Oh, you're right! The excellent guitar solo from Steve Vai for Halo 2. That's a good point. You don't get that moment in Reach. You don't get anything near that moment in Reach.
No.
Oh, sorry, I got something in my eye. All right, that gives us 3 more spots to place Halo 3 ODST, Halo 1, and Halo Infinite.
Can I suggest?
Uh-huh. Can you?
I don't know. I am willing to put...
You come to me with a bargain.
I am coming to you coming to you with a bargain.
It's like a Monopoly game.
You are not going to accept this at all. And I
Halo
don't.
Infinite's last.
No, okay. So here's my bargain.
Yeah.
I don't know how I can reconcile not putting every Bungie game above Infinite. I'm happy for Infinite to be at the top of the 343 list.
Really? You're happy for it to be at the top of the 343 list? As like a consolation, or as like
as a consolation?
Like you don't really believe it. There's no part of you that believes that.
No, but this is the joint list.
I understand. Okay, I understand. I just needed to understand your mindset.
Yeah. This is a compromise. Only because I think that at no point has 343 reached the lows of Bungie.
Uh-huh. At no point has 343 reached the lows of Bungie.
The worst of
As
the Bungie games.
The best moments of 343's work have not reached the lowest lows of Halo's Bungie and Bungie's Halo work. Oh.
So I'm gonna base this off your lowest Bungie moments, which is ODST.
Yep.
By saying that the 3 things that Bungie gets is like mood.
Yep.
Is set pieces.
Yep, definitely.
And the the juxtaposition between the bombastic moments and then that quiet, the lull.
Okay.
Right.
Yep.
The
pacing.
Yeah, but like not even like I mean even in a more literal sense of something very loud and then something very quiet to sort of bounce off of that.
Yeah, so less of a gameplay sense and more of an overall storytelling.
Yeah, like the tone, the setting, anything, right? It is
kind of all of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like I'll say that the ODST, via the nature of the way that game is structured, it is formulaic in that regard. That it is literally just like loud moment, quiet moment, loud moment, quiet moment, loud moment, quiet moment.
Yeah. And then gentle build to the finale. Yeah.
But the set piece that happens on the rooftops in ODST,
yep,
where you're walking across the bridge and then you are defending that like scaffolding, half-built building thing, and then there's the banshees flying around, and then there's the brute chieftains with a gravity hammer, and it's like all 5 of those ODSTs jump on it, right? It's it's something that happens, and nothing happens in Infinite.
Please expound.
It's I can point at that as a moment. And Infinite's like, get another fob. Fucko.
It's something that happens.
Then Marines just show up at the fob, and I'm like, where the fuck have you been? And it's Chiefs.
They
Chiefs
landed
like,
on the Halo ring before you did.
And then it's like,
they're saying, where the fuck have you been?
And then it's like, Chief's like, I don't care. And then it's like, oh, my pilot.
That guy's great.
Yeah, no, he's great. Except, why does Chief care about one guy?
Okay, I think I'm willing to put ODST above Infinite. I'm not willing to put Infinite at the bottom, so I think 4 and 5 should go to places number 8 and 7.
Yeah, more than happy.
Jeremy.
Kerry.
Is the modernization and caliber of a new Halo title worth more than the history and aged but important nature of the genesis of the franchise with Halo 1? Does Halo 1 go under Infinite in our list, or does it go above?
I think Chief is the weakest in one in terms of as an interesting character.
Sure.
I think Cortana is the most interesting thing about Halo 1 because there's a lot of mystery around it.
That's true. And like the setting and the mythos, as you were saying before, does a lot of heavy lifting. Like, oh, look, a ring world, that's so cool. And like, oh, look, aliens, that's so cool.
And look, it is still cool.
That's a good point.
they still pull that veil.
Yeah.
I think that Halo 1 is it's quirky.
Yep.
You
know the other thing that Halo 1 is? Complete. It's a very full game.
It is full.
And not in the bad way. It's not overstuffed.
It is
complete.
It is a little bit overstuffed. Some of the story and some of the levels, especially in the latter half, are a bit long. Like the snow bridges.
Sorry, yes, I should be more clear. What I mean by that is, it's got a full campaign. You could play it in co-op. There's a great multiplayer suite. Plenty of maps. Plenty of weapons. It's accessible to play on new systems and old. With cross-play across all the titles. With all the maps. You can modify it if you want. Custom games are available now on PC. It meant so much back then. It is going to have we are still feeling the lasting effects of the success of Halo 1. You know, the controller layouts we have today are due to Halo 1, you know?
Okay, so before we continue, are we happy to move 2 to second?
I'm not sure yet.
Okay.
I think this is me coming around to Halo 1 is above Infinite. You convinced me before, I think, that Halo 3 ODST is above Infinite. I think we have to say that Infinite goes at place number 6 above Halo 4 and 5. And then this is hard for me personally, Halo 1 or Halo ODST going top or bottom. They're the only games we haven't placed yet. I I don't want to put Halo ODST that high. It just isn't that high for me. I think it's a really it like it is it's a good game. It's fine, but I think it can just wash over you.
It got no flood.
I like the flood.
But I'm saying it didn't need it. You know?
No, it didn't. It was a smaller thing. It wasn't trying to do that. But I like the flood. I like fighting the flood, and I like
I've played the library too many times.
Ah, that's your problem.
I mean, I've played these games a lot.
See, for me, it's like I like the questions that the flood make me ask. I like thinking about how they work and what their introduction into a certain scenario means as they start taking over an entire planet, as they start infesting things, you know, like.
Oh yeah, no, I love the flood. I think they're cool.
Yeah, and you get that every time you get a moment with the flood. Every time you get a you're like, oh, why are they here? And what's the group, the mind consciousness directing them here for? What is their purpose? What's their goal here? Like,
and can I suggest that maybe that's why we put Halo 2 second, because it's got some really good flood moments.
Yeah. Yep. Halo 2 second, I can do that.
Ooh, now this is tough.
So we've got 2 spots. So let's get the lay of the list right now. Number 1 and 2, we have Halo 3, spot number 1. Halo 2 in spot number 2, second place. Halo Reach is floating in the middle somewhere, loosey-goosey.
Yeah.
We've got 2 games that we haven't placed. And then in places 6, 7, and 8, we have Halo Infinite, Halo 5, and Halo 4. Sam in the chat is saying, I'm still waiting for the brawl. This is very amicable. Sorry, Sam. It turns out we respect each other's opinions. So we've got the top and the bottom locked. We now just have to get this middle order just right. We got to get it just so it sits okay, so we can both go to sleep tonight. We got to massage this middle order.
Yeah.
You would probably put ODST as high as you could here, personally, judging that it was number 1 on your list.
Look, I could move ODST and Reach can battle it out.
Okay. And then do you think 1 goes underneath it?
It feels blasphemous.
It does, right? But yeah, I don't know. Like, I think 1 goes under Reach. Definitively. For me.
Yeah, but the multiplayer.
The multiplayer, both of them. Like, Reach's multiplayer is still really good.
And look, I think that Reach specifically lifts a lot of Halo 1's multiplayer more than 3 does.
Okay.
Get like weapon handling wise, as well as it being like in time frames, they're close as well. Like forget like the pistol, for example. The pistol in Halo 3 is dog shit. And then in Reach they made it the Halo 1 pistol, and everyone's like, yeah, this is great.
Yeah. The Halo 1 pistol is fantastic.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I can put 1 above Reach, one below Reach rather.
You've made a good case for it though. Something to consider. No, 1 is underneath Reach on my list. It's above ODST.
Okay, so maybe we put Reach above 1 only because Reach has campaign, fully fledged multiplayer, Forge. Theater mode, firefight.
And it's really comprehensive. It's done really well.
The progression system when it came out was great.
Yep.
Tons of playlists.
It doesn't half-ass any of those things. None of those modes are like, just forget about that. Don't worry about that. You know, it's not like Spartan Ops where I'm like, oh, you can do that if you really like Halo 4, but like, don't worry about it. Like, I think that sits well with me. I think I would do that. So we're saying Reach above
1.
Where does ODST go? For me, if it were me, if I was to arrange these three, I think I would go Reach, ODST, 1.
I think I can do that. I think that the storytelling, like the active storytelling, I think is better in ODST than in 1. Like as in like it's, you know, at this point they know how to tell a cinematic story.
Yeah. And it's more interestingly told. The dialogue's better, like fidelity wise, like it is better. 1 is very old.
Oh, but that means that 1's at the bottom of these. And it just hurts.
It does hurt. But it's not because we don't love it. It's because they iterated and perfected it so specifically and so well. Yeah, Halo Combat Evolved. Get its full title in there. Its full name. All right, everybody. That means we've got a complete list. Allow me to read it to you. The definitive Minimap Halo ranking from bottom to top, starting at place number 8. The lowest place, we have Halo 4. Coming in second after that is coming in 7th after that is Halo 5 Guardians. Do we want to swap? I don't think we want to swap those. It's a weird one.
Yeah, they're weird, and if we did swap them, I think I just wouldn't care.
Who would notice? Yeah, totally.
Coming in next. So, sorry, really quick. I wrote
Yep.
them, and then I didn't remember what we said. And then I had to think back, and then I had to put them back.
I kind of, when I read this list just then, I was like, oh, that's where we put them. Interesting.
Yeah, right?
They are so strange. They're definitely the black sheep of the series. Infinite did so well to try and pull it back. But coming in at number 6 is Halo Infinite, a very troubled entry that showed a lot of promise. It is yet to be seen whether they can bring it back. But as it stands right now, number 6 on the Minimap list. Number 5, we have Halo Combat Evolved, where it all started in 2001 on the Xbox and the PC and the Mac demo. It's place number 5, Halo Combat Evolved. Coming in after that is the spin-off, kind of, the addendum, Halo 3 ODST. That's Orbital Drop
Shock Troopers.
Drop Shock Troopers, not ship. I knew there was a trick word in there. I knew there was one. Drop Shock Troopers. Cool game. Very unique. Very interesting. A lot of cool ideas. Doesn't quite hit the highs of the rest of the series in a lot of ways. But it is Jeremy's favorite. Halo Reach is number 3rd on our list. Taking bronze, I guess, because it's the Olympics, I guess. So many cool moments. The most modernized Bungie Halo experience. An excellent send-off for Bungie's stewardship of the franchise. A very good full stop for that.
It's not stewardship. They made it. Ownership.
They did create it, but because it went to someone else, turns out that it is what they were doing, even if we didn't know it at the time. I'm about to sneeze. I said it and now it won't happen.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. All right, okay, I'll try and tactically mute if it sneaks up on me. Coming in 2nd on the list, silver place, we have Halo 2. A lot of cool moments. It's a bit long in the tooth, but it's not as old and rickety as Halo 1. It's absolutely gorgeous on a new system. It doesn't look half bad on the old graphics either. And it's got so many cool moments. It really elevates everything that came before it. I think full stop. The lore, the different races and species that they introduced in the first game, the different motivations of the different characters and different factions, and showing us so much cool stuff in 2, I think is relevant. And it was an absolute juggernaut for multiplayer. This is where combat evolved, Jeremy. It isn't, because that's the name of the first game. And then number 1 spot is Halo 3. I think perhaps for me, the best Halo experience one can have within a single Halo game. A definitive experience, I would say. A definitive Halo experience.
Yep. The best Halo's ever been.
It really has been. It is a has been. That's not what I meant to say. That's it, everybody. That's our Halo list. Oh, sorry, I got something in my eye. My nose is running. I need to sneeze. I don't know what's happening to me, but we're going to power on through here. If you're watching the stream, I'm so sorry that you have to see me struggle like this. My face is getting all red, but I'm all right. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. Let me find our revised outro. Let's see how the take 2 of this one goes.
Come on,
right,
Kerry.
I got
you
that
got this.
up here.
You got this.
Okay. That's right. I'll try to do this more contemporaneous, not contemporary, like, what's the word where you could speak? Is it extemporaneously? No, that's not it.
I have no idea.
There's a word for when you can speak off the top of your head, like, professionally, like,
You're not doing it right now.
No, I'm not. It's like extraneous or extemporaneous. That's not the right word. Anyway, I can't think of it right now. If anyone can think of it, put it in chat or tweet to us. You could do that in a certain place that I'll tell you about with this outro. Here we go. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the Halo ranking. Honestly, that was pretty fun. I was expecting us to... We were a little agonized, but we kind of handled it pretty well, I think. Jeremy, how do you feel? Let me just ask you this. How do you feel about this ranking? Does it sit with you?
Look, the developer split is apparent, and so therefore I'm satisfied.
343 has been put in their place. Erudite? No, it's not quite it, Sam. It's a good suggestion. Yeah, I'm glad we did that. That was fun. That was a fun thing we could do for episode 117. Like we said at the beginning of the... Like we said at the beginning of the show... Next week, we're going to be ranking DS games. So make sure you don't miss out on that one by following our socials at MiniMapAU. Every week we post on Twitter when we're about to go live. We post when the episodes go live. You can follow us on all the things. You can find us there. You can follow us individually too. Jeremy, where can they follow you on Twitter?
At Obi-Wan-Jez.
Caramelly, where can they follow you on Twitter? You can follow me at KJPalmer_24. You can also head to minimap.com.au for everything else Minimap related, including The Pecking Order, our Kissability pop culture ranking podcast. New episodes of that coming soon, I promise. I promise to you, it's coming soon. For those of you that are live with us on Twitch, stick around. We're about to start the post-show. For those of you who are listening on a podcast service or watching on YouTube, make sure to give us a positive rating, 5-star rating, a tick, a plus. It means a lot to us. It helps out a lot. And please consider joining us next week for the live show if you want to be in on the chat, joining in the discussion, joining in on the pre, mid, and post-show discussions that we do. It's a really fun time. Lastly, again, you can also support us on Patreon if you would like to support us monetarily to help keep the lights on. You can do that by going to patreon.com/minimapau. That's MiniMapAU. I'll say it properly this time. And for $5 Australian, you can ask us questions to answer on the podcast, all while helping us out greatly. That would mean a lot to us. It would help us out a lot if you can do that. What?
So off script.
I'm making it. You know, I'm making it organic and my own.
All right.
You gotta tweak these things, Jeremy. It's a performance. It's an expression of the soul, Jeremy. But it's a bit of advertising.
Pretty sure what I said was perfection, but anyway.
And yet here we are. You know, if it unlike Halo 3, which we could say is definitive, I think this could use a few more iterations. This is the Halo 1 of the outro scripts. Thank you for pressing the outro button. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. We'll be back next week with DS Game Rankings. Until then, stay safe. Have a good one.